Hi, it's me Shivani Saha. I'm from Group S6, and here I'm going to present a video presentation on promoting and protecting human rights of people. And I have chosen disabilities, so human rights of people with disabilities in Australia. And I made this presentation from Welfare System and Services in Australia, SAP 102. Here I'm going to talk about basic human rights, human rights, and how to protect and promote the human rights of people with disabilities in Australia, and their ongoing challenges, their failure of the Australian governments to meet the Australian government's obligation to compliance to protect and promote human rights of disabled people, complexities that can arise when granting the human rights initiative by the governments, and that's it. And I'm gonna talk about the introduction, human rights. Mm. Human rights are the fundamental necessities that ensure the freedom and well-being of all the individuals. And there are some principles which are established by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The Universal Declaration of the Human Rights, adopted by the United Nations in 1948, established on these principles. Australia has made quite progress in protecting disability rights through legislation such as the Disability Discrimination Act 1992. And the Australian government's obligation to protect and promote human rights of people with disabilities. Yeah. Government have responsibility to promote and protect human rights of the disabled people. Government is responsible, and here are some international guidelines, like international conventions such as the United Nations Convention on the Right of Person with Disabilities provide guidelines for the obligation, commitments. The Australian government has made commitment to emphasize the rights and dignity of individuals with disabilities and encourage their participation in society. And failure of the Australian government to meet the obligation. There are quite progress in this sector, but also there are some point where Australian governments fail to meet the obligations. Like what are the ongoing challenges for government to meet their desires? Like there are some ongoing challenges, like in employment sector, education sector, healthcare sector. Yeah, despite progress, challenges remains in such areas, and funding restriction and obstacle hinder the implementation of initiatives like the National Disability Insurance Scheme. Vulnerable population marginalization still faces barriers to accessing service and remain marginalized in the society. Australian government's obligation compliance to protect and promote human rights of people with disabilities. Australian government has implemented measures to protect the right of individuals with disabilities. The Disability Discrimination Act of 1992 ensures fairness and equality in employment, education, and public access. The National Disability Strategy aims to provide opportunities and inclusivity for people with disabilities in various sector, and here are some complexities that can arise when granting the human rights in accessibility. For accessible services and environment, challenging and costly adjustment may be required. Stigmatization. People with disability may still be subjected to social stigma and discrimination despite rights being recognized by the all people. Comprehensive training, education, coordinating triple under studies might need specific help, and preparing for educators opportunities for employment. It's still a big challenge to get a proper employment. Entrance preserves for individuals and handicap in tracking down appropriate work, medical care availability. It may be difficult to get specialized treatment. Yeah, it's like it is free like medical care, but also to get high quality care and specialized treatment, it is difficult to get in time and to get it. Lawful limit protecting people with cognitive disabilities while still allowing them to live their own life is difficult, yeah, challenging as well. And initiative by governments. What are the initiatives given by the government to the people with disabilities, like approachable accommodation project? The government partnered with Monash University to improve housing accessibility. Yeah, partnership. It made a partnership with Monash University to improve housing accessibility and guidelines for inclusion in golf. The Australian Human Rights Commission is developing guidelines to involve people with disabilities in golf. And number third, the pilot program for young people with intellectual disabilities. It made a pilot program for young people with intellectual disabilities. Collaboration between Woolworth and Commission and a charity offers opportunities for young people with disabilities. And a conclusion. Uh, in conclusion, the Australian government has made strides in protecting disability rights, but faces ongoing challenges. Yeah, ongoing challenges in such sector like very important sector, education sector, which is very important. Like disabled people, also if they get proper education, they also can do anything like. Like normal people. And the healthcare sector, uh, in healthcare sector, it's difficult to get proper treatment and specialized treatment, especially high quality care. It's difficult to get it. So disabled people are still having challenges in this sector, healthcare, education, and employment sector as well. Mm. And the stronger implementation of existing laws and increased access to public services are necessary. It is very necessary to access for public services to access. And the collaboration and NGOs and private companies can provide work opportunities and training opportunities. So government should collaborate with NGOs and private companies, so they can provide trainings and work opportunities to the disabled person. By fully acknowledging challenges and obligation, Australia can achieve the goals set by the international conventions and ensure the inclusivity and rights of people with disabilities. Yeah. To meet the goal, they need to focus on challenges, obligations uh, like this. Yeah. Here are some reference. I got this information from the reference. Yeah. Thank you.